Imagine your bank calls. There's been suspicious activity. Money may be leaving your account. You need to act immediately. What happens inside your head? You might imagine panic, but often that's not what happens at all. You become focused. There's a problem. Your money is at risk. Someone appears to know how to fix it, so you start solving the problem. And that feeling of focus can be exactly where the danger begins. Because under stress, you don't necessarily lose your ability to think. You can lose the width of your thinking. Fewer possibilities remain in view. And if somebody else created the pressure, they may also have created the small set of choices you're now considering. 1. Stress changes the question. In a calm situation, you might ask, who is this person? How do I know this is really my bank? Could I call the bank myself? Why do they need this information? Does this make sense? Could something else be happening here? Introduce urgency and something changes. The question becomes, how do I fix this? That's a much narrower question. And notice what has happened. You haven't decided that the caller is genuine. You haven't independently established that there is a problem. But mentally, you've moved beyond both questions. Now you're solving their problem. That's what narrowing does. 2. You consider fewer alternatives. Stress creates pressure for resolution. The brain doesn't particularly enjoy unresolved threats. If something important appears to be at risk, closure becomes attractive. So instead of considering 6 explanations, you might consider 2. Eventually, perhaps only 1. The explanation you've been given. Your bank account is under attack. Your child needs money immediately. Your partner is furious and you need to calm things down. This investment opportunity expires tonight. Your electricity is about to be disconnected. Someone has embarrassing material and says you have 30 minutes to pay. Different situations, same problem. Pressure reduces the space in which alternatives can compete. The possibility, maybe I don't have to do any of the things this person is telling me to do, can disappear from view. 3. Stress makes shortcuts more attractive. Your brain has limited bandwidth, and real life is rarely generous enough to give you an empty afternoon in which to make every important decision. You're working, dinner needs making, somebody is sick, you've got bills, you're organising a trip, you're dealing with family. Then something urgent arrives on top of all that. Your brain starts conserving effort. That's where shortcuts become useful. The logo looks right. The person sounds professional, they know my name. My partner usually handles this. My son wouldn't ask unless he really needed it. Everybody else seems to be investing. I've dealt with this company before. These aren't necessarily stupid conclusions. They're efficient ones. But when you're under pressure, familiar cues can start doing work that verification and broader thinking should be doing instead. 4. The dangerous part is that narrowing can feel good. This is the part I really want you to remember. When your attention narrows, you may not feel mentally compromised. You can feel better. Because now there's a plan. Transfer the money, read out the code, sign the document, make the payment, agree to the demand, fix the argument, take the deal, do the thing. The uncertainty disappears. You've got something actionable. That's why intensity can feel like clarity, but they're not the same thing. You can be extremely focused on the wrong problem. 5. This isn't just about scams, and this is where the idea becomes much more useful. Suppose you're in an argument with your partner. The emotional pressure rises. Suddenly, the only choices seem to be give in or have a massive fight. Are those genuinely the only possibilities? Probably not, but they may be the only ones you can see at that moment. Or your adult child needs money again. They're desperate. They need an answer tonight. Suddenly, give them the money or abandon your child. Again, see, are those really the only 2 choices? Someone wants you to guarantee a loan. They've already organised everything. Everyone is waiting for your signature. Sign or ruin their opportunity. A salesperson tells you the price disappears when you leave. Buy now or lose the deal. An online abuser threatens to publish something. pay or have your life destroyed. These situations are very different, but psychologically, something similar can happen. The pressure creates a tiny decision box, and then you're asked to choose from inside it. 6. So how do you get the missing options back? You don't necessarily need to become smarter. You need to widen the decision. And the simplest tool is often delay. Not indefinite delay. Not ignoring genuine problems. Just enough interruption to stop treating the options you've been given as the only options available. Say, I'm not deciding this right now, or I need to check this independently, or I'll come back to you, or simply give me some time. Then physically leave the interaction if you can. Hang up. Put the phone down, leave the room, close the website. Don't continue arguing. Don't keep reading the messages. Why? Because continuing the interaction keeps feeding the pressure that narrowed your thinking in the first place. 7. Ask one question that forces your thinking wider. Once you've interrupted the pressure, ask, what other explanation or option could there be? Not, which of these two choices should I make? Ask, who says these are my only two choices? That's a very different question. The bank caller says transfer or lose your money. One option is to call your bank yourself. The salesperson says buy now or miss out. An option is just missing out. Your child says guarantee the loan or their plans collapse. You could help them investigate financing that doesn't put your home at risk. Your partner says you must agree to something or you prove you don't trust them. An option is refusing to turn a legitimate question into a test of loyalty. The person threatening you says pay up or they'll publish. You have the other option of preserving the evidence and seeking help rather than negotiating inside the threat. You see, the missing option is often outside the frame you've been given. 8. Bring another brain into the room. There's another powerful way to widen attention. Tell somebody. Not because they are automatically smarter than you. They're not carrying the same pressure. You say, the bank called and says I need to transfer my money. Someone else may immediately say, why don't you call the bank? And suddenly there it is, the option that disappeared. Or, my son needs me to guarantee this loan today. Why today? Another missing question. Outside perspective increases the number of possibilities being considered. That's exactly what narrowing took away. 9. Learn to recognize the feeling of compression. There isn't necessarily an alarm in your head saying, warning, your cognitive field has narrowed. So use external signs. Someone needs an immediate decision. You're desperate for the situation to be over. You feel there are only two choices. You're being discouraged from consulting somebody else. You're thinking, just do this and it'll be fixed. You're more interested in ending the pressure than examining the problem. That's when you introduce friction deliberately. Stop, delay, leave the interaction, add another person, generate another option, because pressure does something very clever. It can make a smaller field of vision feel like greater clarity. And that's the rule to remember. When somebody is pushing you to decide faster, don't just ask whether their choice is right. Ask, what possibilities am I no longer considering because I'm under pressure? That one question can change the entire decision. The Scam Trap, available now on Amazon. Follow David Sayers for practical videos about money, relationships, family, online and offline safety, fraud, abuse, manipulation and control.